Top of the day to you all, and welcome to Module 9 of PD 5202, Balanced Curriculum. What do we mean by balanced curriculum? A broad and balanced curriculum is one that teaches a wide range of subjects and topics for as long as it's possible for that child, promoting a broad range of knowledge and skills and allowing that child to discover and pursue their own interests and passions. Balanced curriculum implies that there is attention to academic, social, emotional, and civic learning outcomes, and that the arts and health and fitness are included as key components of the curriculum. What does this one mean? This one means that the curriculum that should be given to a set of students should be a balanced one. That is, the curriculum must not be filled only with content that have to do with acquisition of knowledge alone. The content must include what we call extracurricular activities and other societal needs. That is the meaning of a balanced curriculum. Now, what are those things that should be done to achieve a balanced curriculum? I have it here that balance in the curriculum is evident in the following areas. The first one is in the use of time. And what do I mean by this? Many states and schools minimize and ministry, they prioritize the use of instructional time to allow more time for core subjects or those that are tested on standardized tests. This sometimes means extending the learning time for certain courses. Some subjects in primary and secondary schools, if you look at them critically, you see that whilst other subjects are allocated 40 minutes, they are allocated 45 minutes, in some cases 50 minutes. Most especially the core subjects. When you talk of maths, English, basic science, basic technology, the time allocated to them are more than the ones allocated to other subjects. The other one is content included. Content included. What do we mean by content included? Content included, you have to talk about all students must participate in a challenging and common curriculum. While many states and schools may allocate additional learning time for the core courses, they also recognize the need for balanced representation of all disciplines. For instance, at the primary and junior secondary school levels, the balanced curriculum includes arts education. When you are talking about arts education, you talk about dance, music, theater arts, and visual arts, English language, guidance, health, physical education, mathematics, information and computer skills, science, second languages, and then, social studies. This builds on the belief that a balanced curriculum challenges students in all areas of learning and allows them to demonstrate their knowledge in a variety of ways. You all know the curriculum of pupils in primary school. You have to do all the subjects, and all the subjects includes not only the basic subjects, it will do the extracurricular activities. The same thing applies to junior secondary school level. They have to do all the subjects. It is at their terminal level at the junior secondary school 3 that they will now choose the one they want to go for. Then we have materials and strategies that respect diversity. Schools today are placing a high priority on closing achievement gaps. To accomplish this, school needs to use instructional strategies and materials that promote academic success for culturally and linguistically diverse students. For example, teachers must incorporate into the curriculum the principles of culturally responsive teaching, including active teaching, opportunities for student-controlled discourse, culturally relevant instructional material, opportunities for student-controlled discourse, and high expectation for student learning. What this one is telling you is that the method of teaching you want to use, you have to factor in your learners. Know their ability level, know whether they are fast learners or slow learners. Then you should be aware of their cultural backgrounds. So when you know their cultural background, you'll be able to know the appropriate teaching method you will use and the material to use to pass across instruction to them. The last one there is attention to cognitive styles. Other issues of balance have to do with students' ways of knowing or cognitive styles and developmental levels. When designing curriculum, therefore, you as teachers should give attention to diversity. We know that students, they don't learn in the same ways or at the same rate. During the primary years, developmental levels within a classroom are quite different. So this one now, it's more or less talking about the cognitive attainment of your student. That when you're talking about cognitive attainment, you have to know that in a class, there are different types of students in terms of cognitive achievement. Slow learners, fast learners, low ability level, high ability level. Once you have this in mind, you'll be able to monitor their levels of achievement. Now, how do we now create an aligned and balanced curriculum? Don't forget, in the previous slide, we talked about balanced curriculum. When you are talking about balanced curriculum, you are talking about the inclusion of other subject matters or other matters in the curriculum that have nothing to do with acquisition of knowledge in the classroom alone. You have to include the extracurricular activities like personal hygiene, and many other issues that reflect the societal needs. That's what is called balanced curriculum. And we talked about what we called the balanced curriculum and how to really attain them. We talk about how to really attain them. That is, the balance in the curriculum is evident. The evidence of a balanced curriculum, 4 of them. But now, how do we now align? How do we create an aligned and balanced curriculum? An aligned and balanced curriculum is accomplished through development of the following components. And these components evolved from an initial curriculum mapping process. The first one is scope and sequence of instruction. A scope and sequence of instruction provides a vertical view of the curriculum. It is organized around a list of concepts, skills, and key vocabulary derived from the state standards that all students should know and be able to do at each grade level, from the kindergarten through high school. The purposes of the scope and sequence are to build a basis for curriculum development, instructional strategies, and assessment practices, and to provide continuity instruction from grade to grade. From grade to grade. So when you say instructional scope and sequence, that is, you must have this is talking about uniformity in curriculum design. That is, for each subject, there must be the level or the extent of coverage of the content, and the school sequence the coverage must follow. That is, from known to unknown, from simple to complex, and to which extent the subject matter should be covered. And this has to be included in each subject curriculum that will be given to the schools. And all the schools must abide by that so that there will be uniformity. so that there will be uniformity. The second one there is pacing guide. Pacing guide. Pacing guides are grade level curriculum maps that prioritize teaching of state standards. They contain the content and skills outlined in the scope and sequence documents for each content area and grade, and present them in sequential or prioritized order by grading period. Thus, pacing guides create a realistic time frame for instruction. They also indicate the appropriate amount of instructional time needed for student mastery. Pacing guides help teachers to ensure equity so that all students across all classrooms and schools have access to the same curriculum. If, for instance, students move from one school or one classroom to another, they can be assured of receiving consistent quality of curriculum and instruction without unnecessary curricular repetitions or gaps. This pacing guide means you create time by which a certain subject matter must be covered. And in doing this, you will afford the student opportunity of not missing anything by the time they move from one school to another school, or they move from one class to another class, so that whatever that will be covered in any subject curriculum with pacing guide will be uniform from one school to another and from one class to another. So that if, for instance, a child moves from one school to another school, pacing guide will prevent a situation whereby what that child had learned from his former school will not be repeated, and to afford the student the opportunity of moving, of continuing learning from where he or she stopped from his former school without leaving any gap behind or without creating unnecessary vacuum. The last one is model curriculum. Model curriculum. Model curriculum units illustrate how the concepts and skills identified in a pacing guide may be incorporated into one or more selected themes during a grading period. In a pacing guide, a theme may be represented by an essential question. The essential questions are generally interdisciplinary in nature and allow for integration of concepts and skills from the clusters outlined in the content standards and from cross-curricular connection with other academic disciplines and the arts. What this one is telling us is that model curriculum, it's illustrated how concept and skill are identified, and a pacing guide, a curriculum is modeled in such a way that the knowledge of concept from a subject can be linked to another subject. Like I said the other time, this is how the science educators, researchers in the field of science, they came about what we call STEM. That is your knowledge in science. You should be able to link it to your knowledge in technology, to your knowledge in engineering, to your knowledge in mathematics, and to your knowledge in other area. When you're talking about STEM, you're talking about science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and what? Technology. So even nowadays, they are now calling it STEAM, because all this your knowledge in STEM, you should be able to even apply it to arts. That's why they are saying science, technology, arts, engineering, and what? Mathematics. So model curriculum unit is about linking the knowledge gained from one subject to other subjects in order to have an enriched, balanced curriculum. Ladies and gentlemen, with this, we've come to the end of Module 9. And until we meet next time to discuss Module 10, do have a great day.